Do you own one of these? Do you own one of these? If you don't have a lot of confidence in setting up a transducer on a Bonafide SS127 Drypod, you may want to check this out. So here's your transducer. Ultimately, we've got to put this on the bottom of our Drypod. This comes with a harness. Hear that sound? That's a good sound. Because in the box, the harness comes like this. And then you think, okay, so I need to connect, hey, look, I can see there's 4 holes there. There's a bunch of holes here. So obviously this is going to connect to this. And you can read it in the directions, after you've read like 14 paragraphs. Then there's like the dreaded bag of hardware. Garmin, it would be super duper awesome if you could label your bags like transducer screws. All right, so there's a small bag and it contains 8 screws and star washers. These are what you're going to use to connect your bracket to your transducer. Right, so at this point, we're just going to line things up, and then we're going to probably thread our star washers on first. All right, now we're going to bend this back. Super important that when you mount this, that your transducer is parallel to the water. Now, how do we mount this to this? We still haven't figured that part out yet. Little marine starboard. That's that just PVC type material that we're going to use to mount our transducer. Kind of looks like cutting board. Kind of feels like cutting board too. So here's my Drypod. Here's my display. My transducer is going to mount here. But I'm concerned that this is not going to stick down far enough past the bottom of the kayak to get a good signal. So I'm going to put 1 or 2 layers of this starboard in between here to ensure that this sticks down far enough. This is the forward facing part of the transducer. This is going to be this way. There is a cable here, which I do need to figure out. I may have to try and run that cable through there. So this cable kind of runs up that away. Okay, that may be a possibility. I wanted to feed the wire to see if the wire would fit through the middle of this bracket, because this is going to be mounted like this, and this transducer wire has to come up here and get plugged into the back of the unit. All right, so here's the bottom of the transducer. So I'm just going to kind of take a pencil and trace a few outlines of this onto this starboard, and then I'm going to have to cut those out at work tomorrow with the jigsaw. So I got my marks. I'll be able to cut that down tomorrow. Good deal. We know we want to put the transducer here, right? We know that for sure. Do I need to install the starboard here to bump it out? Woohoo! How we doing? We are underneath my kayak. This is the hull of my Bonafide, and this is the hole where the Drypod comes down. All right, so that was cool. I just learned a couple things by getting under the kayak. So what did I just learn? Here, once this is installed, there is 2.5 inches of kayak to get past in order to for 100% of the transducer to be exposed beyond the bottom of the kayak. Right, so if I mount this here and I measure, it's about 2.5 inches to about half the transducer. So I've got to go down, in order to get past there, I've got to go definitely a little bit beyond 1/2 inch. So I think that if I take these two pieces of starboard, which I've cut, and I mount them here, and then I mount this guy to that, that's gonna give me the clearance that I need. Now, the biggest question is, how do we apply the starboard to this? Do we drill or do we silicone? Dagnabbit. I'm sorry, guys. The installation portion of the starboard is complete. I thought I was taping and I wasn't. And can't just go and take the silicone off. So I'm just gonna walk you guys really quickly through what I did. You guys saw that I cut the starboard with a circular saw. I cut it into 2.5 inch widths. I decided that I was gonna install starboard with marine silicone sealant. So what I did was I prepped the Drypod, the bottom of the Drypod, with an alcohol swab. And then I prepped the starboard on all sides with an alcohol swab. I applied a bead of silicone sealant to the starboard and pushed it down onto the Drypod. I applied another bead to this piece and pushed it down. This will be dry to the touch in an hour. It'll be fully cured tomorrow. The plan, the goal for tomorrow, is to take these two screws that are for the transducer mount and screw them into here. I'll countersink a couple holes and we'll get this puppy hopefully installed and ready for the water tomorrow. All right, people, it's been 24 hours. We are back. I went ahead and siliconed up around all the edges yesterday. Here's our transducer bracket. This is where the screws are going to go through. So we're going to line this guy up here, mark our holes, drill, and then install. Let's get to it. Swing that out. This way I can go straight down. Swing you back over. All right. Okay. Apparently that silicone wasn't fully set. Back to the drawing board. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and try that again. We had an epic fail with the King Starboard and the silicone. Long story short, it didn't work. I did some research. I found out that in order to use King Starboard with adhesives, there's this super detailed process that involves sandpaper and alcohol and an open flame, and then you've got a 30-minute window to do things, and we're trying to make this easy, not hard. So we're gonna switch to plan B. All right, so what you guys are seeing, here's our starboard. Here's, and so I need to attach my transducer to this. First I have to attach this to this. These are 1-inch screws. Number 10, 1-inch screws. Like a pilot hole. I'm gonna hold these guys on straight. And I'm gonna put 2 screws in here. Screw number 1 is gonna go here. A bigger drill bit, we'll see. Okay. That guy's down. Going with hole number 2. Down here. Now I'm not super worried about making sure that these holes are siliconed because these aren't going through into the Drypod. These are just holding the 2 pieces of starboard together. Now, once I'm ready, then I should be able to take my 2 mounting screws and screw my transducer back onto here. I just have to make sure that this big piece of Starboard isn't going to go anywhere. And he may not, because I just don't know if I want to take that chance. Because what I saw was attaching 2 pieces of Starboard to one another, and you needed that whole process. But right now, this main guy, he feels like he's on there pretty good. I've been wrenching on it, and I've been adding pressure, and I haven't had any issues, as you guys could see on that first time when I put the slightest bit of torque on that small piece, and it came right off. It was like, oh yeah, they were not adhered whatsoever, and the silicone sealant was actually still wet after 24 hours, which should not have been. So this is how it came off last time when I torqued on that, and nothing, no play that time around. So as of right now, that transducer is mounted and there's no holes in the Drypod. That's pretty cool. Well, that kind of seemed like we took the long way around, but at the end of the day, I couldn't be happier. The transducer is mounted. Let me show you guys what that looks like one last time. The transducer has been mounted to the bottom of the Drypod, and we have had 0 issues as far as any more silicone coming off. You guys can see those 2 pieces of Starboard are there. And let's take a look and see what it looks like under the Kayak. There she is, peoples. We're underneath the Kayak. There is the transducer. As you can see, the transducer has cleared the bottom of the Kayak. We've added 2 half-inch pieces of King Starboard, and it has given me the clearance that I'm hoping that I need. The big question, is it far enough down? Is it going to give me the signal that I need? Unfortunately, I don't have the answer to that question right now. It's going to be a hot minute before I can get the Kayak out on any bodies of water and do any fishing, just because of how cold it is here. It's been 0 degrees, there's 4 to 6 inches of ice everywhere, and that just means that I won't be getting out and I won't be able to put the transducer to the test anytime soon. I do have complete intentions of doing that, just because the first video, the display install is getting a lot of views, which is awesome, and I'm hoping that this video does too. And I just want to make sure that I can be the best resource possible when it comes to, the content that I'm putting out. So if you guys found this useful, please do me a favor, smash a thumbs up, whether it was installing a transducer on the Drypod or learning what not to do with King Starboard. It really helps YouTube push the video out to the people that are searching for it. Please stay tuned for video number 3. That's coming up. That's going to be the whole wiring video. We're going to be installing the battery. Where are we going to put it in the Drypod? Somewhere else in the Kayak. We're going to be connecting the battery wires to the display. We're going to be storing them. We're going to be connecting and storing the transducer wires as well. But that's all I've got for you for today. Thanks a lot for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Hope you guys are fishing. Hope you're catching. Talk to you soon. Tight lines. Peace.